Hi, writers. How are you? By now, if you followed the steps correctly on the slide for today, you should have seen the special message from Mrs. Bjorkland. Okay. As promised, I told you your audience does matter, and I did share them with Mrs. Bjorkland since she was our audience. Whether you wrote about a 3-day weekend or you wrote about a dress free uniform day, Mrs. Bjorkland did get all of your speeches, and as you can see, she was really excited to read them. So, moving forward, I want you to remember that your audience does matter. And not only does your audience matter, your voice is really important to be heard. Okay. And that's what's beautiful about this unit is that your ideas are definitely worth sharing. Okay. So, keep those ideas alive and keep looking for those ideas of how you can write about different things. Now, you might ask yourself, ideas, but Ms. Fakori, how do I come up with ideas? A lot of times we get stuck. Anytime that you start a new writing unit, we spend a lot of time in the beginning coming up with ways to generate ideas. Remember when we did our personal narratives, we talked about how we can talk about different people in our life. Then we talked about how we can talk about special places that we go to in our life. And even the last thing that we talked about was the feelings, how we added feelings to our list. So the same thing when we're writing persuasive speeches. There's different strategies that we can try. So today's teaching point, okay, that I want to teach you is that there is one way, writers, there's many ways actually, writers, but today we're going to focus on one way. There's one way that persuasive speeches come up with their ideas, okay, the writers of persuasive speeches come up with their ideas is by seeing problems and imagining solutions. If you remember from last week, I told you when we write persuasive writing, we're not whining about the problems or the things in our lives that we don't like. We're no longer whining about it. We're writing to make a change. So today, boys and girls, today, writers, what I want you to do is think about the different problems that you may see around you, but not just any old problem, problems that you could see solutions for, not problems that you can't control. And when we have our small groups, we're going to go over this in more detail. But Ms. Fakori just wanted to give you kind of like an overview of how this is going to work. Okay. So imagine, if you would, for a minute, the places around you. Right now, you're home. Okay. So think of different problems that you may face at home. Maybe during this time, you're a little bit bored. So how can you come up with solutions for that problem? Think of school. Think of places, different places in school. You go to art every day. You go to Spanish class every day. You go to PE every day. You go to the cafeteria for lunch every day. You go outside for recess every day. Are there different problems that you face in those areas? You thinking what I'm thinking? Right away, I'm pretty sure you're thinking, recess, Miss Fakori, the playground, we can't run. How many times have you guys whined to your teachers about that? Well, today, instead of whining about it, start thinking of a solution to that. Okay? So don't just think of the playground. Think of different places around school, okay? And kind of put on those lenses of a problem solver now. You're looking for problems, but you're also looking for ways to solve it. Then that's going to be the first way that you come up with different ideas for your speeches. So today on Seesaw, after you think about those problems, you will see this. Okay, you were to think of a place, either in school. So think of where you go every single day. It could even be our own classroom. Are there certain problems that you encounter in the classroom? Okay, and then try to think of a solution to that problem. Because remember, we're not whiners. We are problem solvers now as speechwriters. Okay, so what you're going to do is write the name of that place. Okay, for Miss Fakori here. Whatever place it is, using a text box. I know you're not doing that, but you're just going to type it, right? And then what is the problem? So if Miss Fakori was going to say recess, I would say the place is the playground. The problem is there's nothing really, no space for us to run. There's not a lot for us to do. And then what can I do about that? How can you problem solve that? Okay, so go ahead and think today, writers, of different places, whether in school or at home, different problems you may face, and then how can you solve them? Because we're problem solvers as writers, okay?